Hey guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to repair this existing wooden deck that has some rot, and we're just going to be replacing some of the boards. Please stay tuned and continue watching until the end because I'm going to show you how we were able to replace everything, especially if you're on a budget. So I'll be sharing all the details here in a little bit. If you want to learn how to do all kinds of handyman DIY projects, including home renovations, then you're in the best place here on YouTube, since that's all we do here. Consider subscribing to our channel and activate the notification bell so that way you don't miss out on any future videos that we're going to be uploading in the near future. For a project like this, we highly recommend for you to have at least 2 people working on this project. In this case, it's me and my dad. Now, also, we recommend for you to pick a good day where it's not really raining. In our case, we had to do it under these conditions. Today, it was like raining and then it would stop, then it would rain again. It was just like off and on all day, so we had to deal with that. And we didn't have a choice, especially because we had already rescheduled this project a couple different times. And the customer, she told us that if we weren't able to do it today, then she was just not going to go with it anymore. So we really had no choice. And but you know, it was totally fine. We were able to get it done either way. So the first thing that we're doing is removing all of the rotted sections of boards, and we're just using that with a hammer and a crowbar. We have a longer one so we have some more leverage to remove those 2x6s. Now, I know you probably noticed, but these replacement boards are 2x4s. The existing ones were 2x6s. This was a surprise to us. When we got to the job site, the customer was the one that purchased all of the material, and we noticed that right away. So she said that the 2x6s, they were super expensive, especially right now. The wood prices went up significantly due to all the circumstances around us. So she wasn't able to afford 2x6 replacements, and she just got us 2x4s. So, I mean, either way, we had to get it done. We just use what we have. Now, if you have this similar situation, the only thing that you're going to notice is the gap. You got to fill in the gap difference. And I mean, I'll show you that in this video. That's what I had to do. So in this case, this is another section. She only gave us a certain amount of 2x4s, so we're not going to be replacing the entire area. We're mostly focusing on the worst parts, those that have like dry rot, and where you stand on top, your foot can almost go through it. So mostly the more dangerous sections, those are the ones that we're going to be removing and replacing. Now, another thing that we noticed is the customer, she only brought us 1 box of screws, and we ran through those really quickly. Typically with decks like this, you'll want to put 2 screws on each end of the boards, but since we only had 1 box to work with, I only put 1 screw on each end and then 1 in the middle. So with that, I mean, it was still holding up very firmly, but you always want to make sure to put at least 2 screws on each board, so that way you have a lot more strength and support. But if you have only this and you're on a tight budget, then this will work as well. Another thing that we highly recommend, especially since these 2x4s, they're not really meant to just be out there in the exposed, to the climate and the weather. They're gonna basically rot and deteriorate a lot sooner than later. We highly recommend for you to get some stain and sealer and apply that afterwards. In our case, we only got hired to replace these boards, and the customer's gonna do that later. So what I'm doing right here is I'm putting in the screws. They're typical, I think they're like 2.5 inches long wood screws that have a special type of head that doesn't spin out when you're screwing the through the boards. And here, my dad, he's also working, cutting the sections to the length. In some areas, it was a lot longer than the 8-foot lengths. So we basically just put a full board, or we put it halfway, and then we cut the other one so it fits the other portion. But it's coming out pretty good, you know, even though like it was supposed to be 2x6s, we're putting in these 2x4s. I used like a little crowbar to, you know, get the spaces as equal as I could in between. And like you see right here, it came out really nice, and it's super solid, you know, compared to before. Man, it was quite scary. This wooden deck is raised up about 30 inches over the ground. So if you were to fall through with how the previous boards were, I mean, you know, you can get hurt. So right here we have the final section. We just removed all the boards from the one end all the way to the edge. We did have a few 2x6s that the customer got us, and we're mostly using that for the outer edge. Now over here, this length was longer than the 8 feet boards, so we just had to cut a little section off of each one. And then that huge gap that you see right there, I'm basically trying to divide it equally throughout all of the 2x4s so that the gap is very minimal in between. You definitely want to be very careful with that. Just, you know, you don't want to have it too opened up, because for whatever reason, you know, if somebody was walking on this with high heels and it slips through the gap, then that could be, they consider that a tripping hazard, you know. So I'm just dividing the gaps as small as I can throughout the entire area. Once I'm happy with it, then I'm basically driving in the screws on one on each end, and I'm doing that with the long boards as well. This took me a while, you know. I had to like move them and then remove them, and once I was happy with it, then I'm going ahead and just putting in the screws on one end and the other. But this is basically how you can do this project, you know, on a budget. So like I said, this customer, she had 2x6s before. She wasn't able to afford to replace everything with 2x6s because the price of wood is so expensive. If this is your case as well, then you can do the same thing as we did here. Just put 2x4s and just replace enough sections so that you can fill in the gaps as small as possible. But this is the end result after we did everything, and honestly, it came out really nice. The only thing that's left is for the customer to put on the stain and the sealer, and this project is a wrap. We hope you liked this video. Please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel and activate the notification bell so that way you don't miss out on any future videos that we're going to be uploading in the near future. Please hit the like button, send us a comment, let us know what you think or if you have any questions. In the product description, I'm also going to be putting some links of materials and tools that we recommend. If you use those links to purchase, it will help us out. May God bless you, and we'll see you on the next project.